For my 30-day self-help project, I read the book Joy, The Happiness That Comes From Within by Osho. This book is part of a 7-part self-help series, also known as the Insights for a New Way of Living. Other books in this series include Awareness, Courage, Creativity, Intimacy, Intuition, and Maturity. Osho is famous for self-help books that he writes, promoting spiritual awareness as well as the art of meditation. The first chapter in this book defines happiness. What I drew most from this chapter is that happiness comes from within. Depending on how your day was, or how you perceive others, or how others perceive you, is all on you. It's your decision. And how you decide to live your life is your choice. This chapter also talks about the need for material goods. In today's society, a lot of people talk about, oh, I don't have this, so I'm not happy, and things like that. But according to this chapter, not everything that you want necessarily is what you need. The first step to finding what you need is seeing if you are truly happy with yourself. What I did to implement this step was I reflected over my actions and everything that I have done over the past year, and what has made me into the person that I am today. Although I have some regrets, I have moved past these events and I've learned from them to make me into a better person. This November, I went up and visited my sister who goes to Northern Arizona University.
Might hit your address if I'm on the map. Just right to you, I can't do no traffic. I can't do no lacking.
While we were there, we went hiking and took a lot of family pictures.
Like my time, like my jokes. We been downstairs in the basement with the most. Yeah. Shot my town, shot my tropes. Shot my jeweler, make my chain look like Fruit Loops. Yeah. Come get a taste, come get a scope. I done made it out the whole oaks. I done finally found a way to make the loop. Link up all my niggas in my jokes. Yeah. Link up, yeah. Link up, pour my syrup. Yeah, they link up.
I truly believe that I am the happiest that I have ever been right now in my life because I am living in the now, by enjoying time with family and friends. Also, to implement this step, my coworkers and I went to a local pumpkin patch right around the end of Halloween season.
Yeah, Sabase, YS, run it up. All this cake, bag it up, then come right away. When I ask who bigger, ain't tryna argue with you, I'm tryna figure who you with, who your team, what's your side, how you ride, how you use me to survive.
This chapter also talks about what the source of your happiness is. A lot of people pray or meditate to find happiness, but in this book it talks about that you can't be truly happy if you think, oh, I need to do this to feel happy. Oh, I need to meditate so I can feel happy. A lot of people find happiness from the pleasures in life. From these pleasures grow desires. Desires are kind of like leaves on a tree. Desires and hopes for certain things can grow on your mind and you won't be able to function because you're like, oh my gosh, I need this. The next chapter is called In Pursuit. When you are conscious, it is hard to be angry at someone because you're trying to be mindful and truly understand what they're going through. If you don't know what makes you happy, then you need to increase your chances of finding bliss. When you find bliss, it doesn't produce happiness. Happiness is a byproduct. But at the same time, on the other hand, when you're trying to find bliss, you need to figure out what the root of your misery is. I believe, and I agree with the book, it says that money is the root of all misery. No matter if it's loan debt or even debt in general, it will cause you misery. Misery is more common than uncommon. Instead of worrying about things that would make you miserable, live in the now. In today's society, a lot of people don't live in the now because they're always involved in their cell phones, seeing what other people are doing and how they can be better than them. Personally, I live in the now by trying new things. Instead of trying new foods or dyeing my hair, I decided to try a new gymnastics skill. The skill I decided to try is called a kip. It is a fundamental skill in the gymnastics world.
If I die, know I lived and missed some bullets. I'm on the pursuit of happiness, and I know everything that shine ain't always gonna be gold.
Oh, you got that. Come on, Katie. Oh, that was closer.
Unfortunately, with this new skill, I got what gymnasts called a rip on both of my hands. Yes, they did hurt, but it was a pain I wasn't used to because I haven't done bars in over 10 years. Another way to find joy is look for the positive side of things. I understand that negative things happen, but I really tried to look for the positive in every situation that I was involved with after reading this book. The next chapter is From Agony to Ecstasy. This chapter talks about the path to enlightenment is a journey. It doesn't happen overnight. You need to understand what makes you miserable and what makes you happy. This chapter also talks about what people define as joy. Most of the time, what people think joy is can be classified as entertainment. This chapter describes ecstasy as in being in the now, and becoming is misery. The final chapter asks a series of questions to respond within yourself. The first question is, why don't we drop our miseries? How can human beings be happy and blissful? What this means to me is, even though you could be happy at one point, you can be miserable the very next. Happiness is a universal phenomenon. There is nothing special about it. You can be happy and it can be temporary. You can find happiness and blissfulness and it could last a lifetime. It just depends on how you perceive happiness. The next question is, why is it so hard to forgive and forget? I had a friend that I was really close with at one time, and she started making not the best choices, and her mom was not really the happiest with those choices. So instead of facing the fact that, she's a teenager and she's rebelling, she kind of put it on me, saying that I was a bad influence and that I wasn't really a good friend for her to have. So she told me to my face that I'm not allowed to be friends with her anymore and that I'm not welcome in her house anymore. That was about 3 years ago, and now that I think about it, it's been causing me misery, and I don't really think it's worth it to worry about it anymore. My friend and I have reconnected recently, and we talked about it, and we're gonna try to become friends again, and it's kind of hard because it's kind of like a new friendship, and it's still kind of awkward, but we're gonna kind of play by ear and take things slow. What I learned from this situation was that you can't control what others think about you. Even though others can cause you misery, it's your choice how you react to their decisions. The next question is, why does everyone want to pretend to be happy when they're not? In society, a lot of people teach their children, fake it till you make it. You're just making yourself more miserable because you're not being yourself. The next question is, how can I be myself? Well, I did this by figuring out what makes me me. I have been involved and around gymnastics my whole life. Another part that makes me, me, is truly understanding my family values and what I truly believe morally and ethically. In this book, you have to recognize that everyone is unique, and to be truly happy, you have to embrace your uniqueness. The next question is, should I come to terms with my own loneliness before entering a relationship? No matter if this is like a relationship that turns into marriage or if it's just a friendship, you need to truly be happy with yourself and love yourself before you can love others. What I learned from this book is that I need to stop thinking about the negative things and live in the now by truly accepting things for what they are. One of my biggest struggles is that I cannot change everything and I cannot control everything. That's just how it is. The first thing that I learned from this book is that you get what you give. If you expect to find happiness from others, you will never truly be happy. The second thing I learned is to enjoy the time with those you love and do things that you love. The third thing that I learned is if you're truly upset, don't fake it till you make it. To be happy, you have to find what makes you miserable. The fourth thing that I learned is that you need to find the source of your happiness and misery. The book states that money is the root of all misery. This can be described as fake happiness, also known as desires or the pleasures in life. I think the most important thing I learned from this book is that you need to enjoy time with those you love and do things you love. Instead of worrying about things that will make you miserable, you need to live in the now. If you look for the positive in every situation, you will truly be happy.